By the time you hear the news, the move has already been made. By the time the headline drops, the deal has already closed. By the time the crowd shows up, the rich have already cashed out and gone home. This is the part of the game no one explains to you. The rich do not invest the way you think they invest. They do not chase. They do not panic. They do not wait for permission, and they do not wait for proof. They move quietly, months before the public knows a market exists, and by the time you are reading about it on your phone, they have already collected their position, locked in their gains, and walked away with a smile you will never see. You think the world is fair. You think information arrives at the same time for everyone. You think the playing field is level, and the rules are written for the man who works the hardest. None of that is true. It has never been true. The game has always been rigged in favor of the men who refuse to play by the schedule the public is given. And the man who refuses to understand this will spend the rest of his life buying at the top and selling at the bottom, wondering why his hard work never turns into wealth, wondering why the men around him keep getting richer while he keeps running in place. 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote that the prince who waits for the storm to arrive is the prince who drowns inside it. He said that fortune favors the man who strikes before others see the opportunity, and punishes the man who waits for certainty. He understood something that most men today still refuse to accept. Wealth is not built by reacting. It is built by positioning. The rich do not win because they are smarter than you. They do not win because they work longer hours than you. They do not win because the universe blessed them at birth. They win because they move earlier than you, more quietly than you, and with a kind of patience the modern man has been trained to never feel. They invest in things you have never heard of, in moments when you are not paying attention, in ways that will not make sense to you until it is far too late to copy them. Today, I am going to show you the 5 investments the rich make in silence, long before the rest of the world catches on. Watch this video until the end, because the 5th one is the one that quietly separates a wealthy man from a powerful one, and most men live their entire lives without ever understanding what it is. The first investment the rich make before anyone knows is information. Not news, not headlines, not the same articles every other working man reads on his lunch break. Real information. Private information. The kind that costs money to access and silence to protect. The rich pay enormous sums every year for newsletters you have never heard of, for research desks no retail investor can touch, for private dinners where a single sentence dropped over a glass of wine is worth more than your annual salary. They sit on boards, they join clubs, they sponsor conferences, they fund universities. And every one of these moves is an investment in knowing something before you do. While you are scrolling through the same feed as 10 million other men, they are reading reports written for an audience of 50. While you are arguing about politics in a comment section, they are sitting across from the people who write the policy. While you are reacting to a story, they are the reason the story exists. Machiavelli warned that the man who depends on public knowledge will always arrive late, because public knowledge is the knowledge of the herd, and the herd is always the last to move. If you want to invest like the rich, your first investment is not a stock. It is not a coin. It is not a side hustle. It is a network of sources, a habit of reading what others do not read, a discipline of paying for access instead of waiting for it to be handed to you for free. Free information is the information designed for losers. Information is the only asset that compounds before the market even knows it exists. And the man who pays for it early always collects more than the man who waits for it to arrive. The second investment the rich make before anyone knows is access. Access to decision makers. Access to rooms where the future is being shaped before the public hears about it. You think money buys yachts and watches. The truly rich know money buys something far more dangerous. It buys proximity. Proximity to the senator before the law is written. Proximity to the regulator before the rule is announced. Proximity to the founder before the company is funded. Proximity to the operator before the deal is signed. The rich invest enormous resources in being in the right rooms, on the right boards, at the right tables, with the right phone numbers saved in the right phones. They donate to causes, not because they care about the cause, but because the donation buys them a seat. They attend events, not because they enjoy the company, but because the company controls the levers. While you wait in line, they walk through a side door, While you fill out a form, they make a call. Machiavelli observed that the prince who surrounds himself only with the common men learns nothing the common men do not already know. If you want to move before the world moves, you must invest in being close to the men who move it. That investment is uncomfortable. It is slow. It requires you to be useful to people who do not yet need you. But it is the second great secret of how the rich stay ahead. The third investment the rich make before anyone knows is their own body. This is the one nobody wants to hear, because it is the least exciting and the most expensive of all. The rich invest in their health while they are still young enough not to need it. They pay for blood work you have never heard of. They pay for trainers, doctors, sleep specialists, nutritionists, dentists, dermatologists, and surgeons years before the average man even thinks to schedule a checkup. They do not wait for a diagnosis. They wait for a baseline, and then they protect it, with the discipline of a soldier guarding a fortress. The poor man treats his body like a vehicle he will replace. The rich man treats his body like an empire he will defend. He sleeps when others scroll. He eats when others snack. He trains when others rest. He drinks water when others drink poison, and calls it celebration. Because the rich understand something brutal and simple. Money cannot save a dying man, but health can save a poor one. A strong body buys you decades of compounding. A weak body cashes in every gain you ever made and hands the bill to your family. Machiavelli wrote that the wise prince prepares his defenses in times of peace, knowing that in times of war, it is already too late to build the walls. Your body is the first kingdom you will ever rule, and the last one you will ever lose. If you are not investing in it now, with quiet daily discipline, you are not investing like the rich. You are gambling like the broke, and the bill always comes due. The fourth investment the rich make before anyone knows is the asset that everyone else is afraid of. While the crowd is selling in panic, the rich are quietly buying. While the headlines scream collapse, the rich are signing contracts. While ordinary men are pulling their money out of the market, the rich are putting theirs in. This is not luck. It is not coincidence. It is a deliberate, repeated, generational pattern. The rich understand that fear creates discounts, and discounts create dynasties. They wait, sometimes for years, for the moment when an industry breaks, a market crashes, a region is abandoned, a company is left for dead. And then, while everyone else runs for the exits, they walk in through the front door and buy the building. They buy real estate during recessions. They buy companies during scandals. They buy currencies during collapses. They buy land during wars. And they do all of this without telling you, because the moment you know is the moment the discount disappears. Machiavelli wrote that the wise prince does not fear the storm. He uses it. He understands that the moments of greatest panic are the moments of greatest opportunity, because in those moments, the foolish surrender what the wise will own. If you want to invest like the rich, you must learn to feel calm when the world is screaming. The day the news tells you to run is the day they are quietly buying. The fifth investment the rich make before anyone knows is the one most men never even recognize as an investment. They invest in their reputation, not their image, not their brand, not the carefully filtered version of themselves they post on a screen. Their reputation, the slow, silent, accumulated belief that other powerful men have in their word. The rich understand that every contract they will ever sign, every deal they will ever close, every introduction they will ever receive, depends on what is said about them when they leave the room. So they invest in being the kind of man who is spoken well of. They keep their word when it costs them. They pay their debts when it hurts them. They refuse opportunities that would tarnish them. They are patient when others are reckless, and silent when others are loud. They do not argue in public. They do not betray in private. They do not waste their name on small fights for small rewards. They build a reputation the way other men build a portfolio, slowly, deliberately, and with an obsession most people would consider strange, because they know that money can be lost and recovered in a single decade, but reputation, once broken, takes a lifetime to rebuild, and sometimes cannot be rebuilt at all. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must be feared, but never hated, and trusted, but never naive. He understood that the man whose name is respected walks into rooms with leverage no contract can give him. He gets the call before the deal is announced. He gets the introduction before the search begins. He gets the benefit of the doubt when everyone else is denied it. This is the final investment, the one that compounds longer than any stock, the one that opens doors no money can buy, and the one that quietly separates a wealthy man from a powerful one. So remember these 5. Information before it is public. Access before it matters. Health before it fails. Assets before they recover. Reputation before it is tested. These are the investments the rich make in silence, while the rest of the world is busy reacting to a game that was already decided in rooms they were never invited into. The brutal truth is that wealth is not built by working harder than the man next to you. It is built by seeing further than he can see, moving earlier than he can move, and standing still when he is running in fear. The crowd will always arrive last, because the crowd is designed to arrive last. The headlines will always lie about who is winning, because the headlines are written for the men who already lost. The only question that matters is whether you are willing to think, act, and invest like the few men who refuse to be part of it. Most men will hear this and do nothing. Most men will close this video, return to their feed, and keep losing the same way they have always lost. A few will not. A few will pause. A few will change one habit this week, then another the next, then another the next, until one day they look up and realize they have stopped reacting to the world and started positioning inside it. If this video made you see the game differently, if it made you uncomfortable in a way that felt useful, then subscribe, because what is coming next is going to sharpen you further. The men who win do not wait for permission. They position. And now, first, so will you.